Inside a cold, sterile lab, two scientists move quietly, running experiments that look anything but normal. You can tell they're working on something secret, something dangerous. A massive monitor flashes with complex DNA patterns and mutation data. It's clear they're not curing anything. They're creating something new. Under the harsh blue light, two bodies lie still on operating tables, a man and a woman. The machines around them beep steadily, almost like counting down to whatever nightmare is about to begin. One of the scientists gives the order, "Inject." His tone sharp, no hesitation. This is the moment everything changes. Tubes filled with glowing green liquid start to hum, the sound low but menacing. Whatever's inside isn't medicine. It's something alive. The fluid travels through the line and into the subject's veins. Their lifeless hand twitches slightly as the injection takes hold, and the experiment truly begins. One scientist checks the monitor, Comet first, status is stable. Everything's reading normal. Suddenly alarms blare. The screens flash red. The assistant yells that blood pressure's crashing fast. Something's going wrong inside the subject's body. Both scientists whip their heads toward each other in shock, frozen for a second. Whatever they injected, it's not reacting the way they expected. The man on the table starts convulsing violently, his body jerking as the experiment takes a deadly turn. Blood spills from his nose and mouth, his face twisting in agony as his body rejects whatever they put inside him. His eyes snap open wide, veins bulging, pupils shaking, like something inside him just woke up. Then a burst of blood sprays out as his body arches, the room echoing with the sound of something breaking past human limits. The two scientists stand over the bodies, both motionless, lifeless. One of them mutters that both subjects are dead. The monitor shows a flat line. The scientist sighs, saying there's no reaction. It's another failed experiment. The lead scientist lowers his head slightly, voice cold and tired. Another failure added to the list. One of the scientists freezes mid-step, eyes wide. Something's off. The older scientist pulls off his mask slightly, saying he's done. He can't keep doing this. Not after another failure. He's ready to shut the project down himself. The younger one panics, stepping forward in disbelief. He shouts that they can't stop now. This research is everything. The tension in the room spikes, both of them standing over what might have just changed humanity forever. The older scientist snaps, shouting that too many people have already died because of this research. His voice echoes through the cold lab. He looks down at the lifeless hand of one of the subjects, blood staining the floor. He says the experiment was doomed from the start. This needs to end. As he walks out, he tells the other scientist he's done helping. He warns him to let go of this obsession before it consumes him too. The remaining scientist stands frozen as the sound of cracking glass echoes through the lab. His assistant looks over nervously, calling out, "Dr. Shin," unsure of what's about to happen. Dr. Shin slowly removes his mask, his voice low but tense. He asks if his assistant also believes their research is meaningless, his tone hinting that he's not ready to let go. Dr. Shin explodes in anger, yelling that the patients they used were already dying, just a few days left at most. He justifies his actions, saying sacrificing them for humanity's sake isn't wrong. His assistant looks at the bodies on the tables and quietly pushes back. He says those few days still belong to them. It was their life, no matter how short. Dr. Shin freezes, his expression stiffening. For the first time, he can't find an answer. The assistant tries to speak up again, but Dr. Shin cuts him off coldly, saying he'll handle the cleanup himself and that the assistant should leave. The assistant hesitates, staring at the bodies and the man who seems more haunted than ever. He doesn't say a word. Dr. Shin stands alone under the harsh light, his face hidden in shadow. The quiet hum of the machines is the only sound left in the room. Dr. Shin mutters to himself, his voice low but filled with conviction. He insists the research will succeed. There was never anything wrong with the experiment itself. He looks up, eyes sharp behind his glasses, saying the real issue was the test subjects. Somewhere out there, the perfect one exists, the key to making it all work. He clenches his jaw, determination burning in his eyes as he vows to find that perfect subject and make the experiment a success. The scene shifts to a bright blue sky above the city, peaceful and ordinary, completely unaware of what's brewing in the shadows. A small restaurant sits quietly under the sunlight, the kind of place people visit every day without a second thought. Inside, life goes on as usual, customers eating, chatting, laughing. No one knows that somewhere out there, a new kind of nightmare is already being born. Two guys sit at a restaurant table, finishing their meal. It's a calm, normal afternoon, nothing out of the ordinary. One of them scrolls through his phone, frowning before muttering, "Wow, what a bunch of lunatics." His friend looks up, confused, asking who he's talking about. He points toward the TV mounted on the wall, where a live news broadcast is playing. "That guy," he says, shaking his head. "An attention seeker. Do people actually make money doing stuff like that?" The news shows shaky footage of people acting like zombies in the streets, screaming and staggering toward the camera. The headline says it's just a streaming prank that went too far. One of the guys jokes that maybe he should try becoming an ex-tuber too. Anything's better than the mess they deal with at work. His friend snorts, saying last week he wanted to start a business, and now it's online fame. His friend leans back in his chair and calls out, "Hey, Kong Yihwan," pulling him out of his phone as the casual banter continues. His friend leans forward with a grin, eyes gleaming as he asks, "Do you think zombies could actually exist?" Yihwan sighs, setting his chopsticks down. "We're about to go clean up corpses," he says dryly. "Don't start talking about that stuff right now." The friend laughs, waving his hands. "Come on, be honest. You kind of believed in that zombie rumor at first, didn't you?" Yihwan shakes his head. "It was all fake. There are no zombies. That's why people make videos about them." His friend groans and leans back, waving his hand dismissively. "TCH, you're so boring." Yihwan stands up, unimpressed. "Whatever. If you're done eating, get up and change. We've got work." The next shot cuts to a tall hospital building under the bright morning sky. Yihwan's voice echoes, "We need to head to the hospital." A close-up shows a business card in his hand. Kim Yihwan, funeral home priest. The words below read, "We pray for the repose of the soul of the deceased." Dressed sharply in his black funeral suit, Yihwan stands solemnly, holding his business card with both hands, calm, composed, and professional. A nurse looks up from the counter, blinking in surprise. "Huh? A funeral service?" Yihwan introduces himself politely. "Yes, this is Hanwol Funeral Services, Kong Yihwan. I received a call about patients who passed away early this morning." The nurse nods quickly and turns to her coworker. "Ah, yes. Please hold on for a moment." Yihwan adjusts his tie, glancing toward the counter. "Why is she so flustered?" he mutters. It's not like a funeral director showing up at a hospital is something unusual. His friend rushes in, slightly out of breath, but grinning. "Phew. Sorry, Yihwan. Did I keep you waiting?" He leans in to whisper with a cheeky smile. "That spicy octopus stir-fry was way too much. My ass is on fire. Secret between us. I almost crapped myself, haha." Yihwan grimaces, looking away. "Ugh, Hyung, that's disgusting." As they stand in the eerily quiet lobby, Yihwan's friend glances around. "But seriously, why is this hospital so empty?" he asks. "Did you check in?" Yihwan nods. "Yeah, they told us to wait a bit, and then went inside." A nurse steps out from behind the counter. "Please come this way. I'll guide you to the operating room." Yihwan replies, "Oh, all right," and follows her down the hall. The glowing green operating room sign fills the frame. The nurse confirms, one adult male, one young girl. The two morticians stand under the cold white light, staring at the bodies on the tables, a man and a young girl, lifeless and pale. Yihwan's partner sighs. Father and daughter, it seems. What a tragic situation. He adjusts his gloves. "All right, let's get started." Yihwan stays silent, his expression heavy. He looks at the small body on the table. A flicker of emotion crosses his face, but he says nothing. Yihwan looks over the bodies carefully. "Ji Min Hyung, these people, they died in a car accident, right?" "Yeah, why?" Ji Min answers casually, not thinking much of it. Yihwan's eyes narrow. Isn't it strange? The father's body is in bad shape, but the girl's is almost spotless. He steps closer, inspecting the girl's arm. Aside from that wound on her arm, I don't see any signs of surgery. If they didn't operate, then why are the bodies in an operating room? Jimin waves a hand dismissively. Oh, come on. It's not that weird. Maybe she died before they had a chance to operate. How would we know? He crouches down, putting on gloves. It's not like we're forensic experts. Why do we care about that? Stop overthinking and focus. Yihwan just stands there quietly, still uneasy. Jimin extends a gloved hand, holding surgical gauze with tongs. Let's start with the mouth. Here, take this. Jimin sighs, glancing over at Yihwan. Phew, I get why you're out of it. But what can we do? It's what we signed up for. Yihwan doesn't answer, his expression unreadable. He carefully places the gauze inside the girl's mouth, his hands trembling slightly. Suddenly, Yihwan flinches. Ow! He winces in pain. Jimin turns around, mildly concerned. Huh? What's wrong? Did you cut yourself on a tooth? Yeah, I think so, Yihwan mutters, clutching his hand. It's nothing. I'm fine. Yihwan looks at his glove. There's a faint scratch, but no blood that must have been a broken tooth. Jimin shrugs. Just in case, change your gloves. Let's move the father's body first. Got fresh gloves on. Jimin asks, ready to lift. Help me lift from the bottom. Okay. Yihwan answers, still distracted. The clock ticks at 9:48 a.m. as Jimin says, all right, let's move. I'll lift from this side. 1, 2. They struggle to shift the corpse. Jimin exhales, wiping sweat. Phew, he's so heavy. It's hard to move him around. Yihwan glances at the girl's body, a strange feeling creeping up his spine. His eyes lock on her lifeless form, the girl lying still, pale under the cold hospital lights. Suddenly, he stiffens. Something about her arm looks different. He stares in shock. What the? I swear there was a wound on her arm. Jimin turns, annoyed. Why are you zoning out again? What is it this time? Yihwan turns, pointing nervously. Young, I'm sure this girl had a wound on her arm. Before he can finish, his pupils widen in shock. A strange chill runs down his spine as his vision distorts. He clutches his head, staggering. A sudden dizziness hits him, his heartbeat echoing in his ears. Something feels very wrong. Yihwan collapses to the floor with a loud thud, his body jerking as shock floods through him. Jimin spins around in panic. Huh? Hey, Yihwan, what's wrong? Are you okay? He rushes over and kneels beside him, shaking his shoulder. Calm Yihwan. Yihwan's eyes flutter, his breathing uneven. Something's clearly not right. Yihwan starts sweating heavily, his breathing ragged. Young, my body, it feels weird. His eyes widen as a sharp pain shoots through him. His veins darken, his pupils dilate. Something inside him is changing. He convulses violently, screaming in agony. KRKK. Cry. Jimin panics, yelling, Yihwan. Hey, calm Yihwan. But his friend's body twists unnaturally as the transformation begins. Jimin shouts in panic, Calm Yihwan. But Yihwan's eyes shoot open, veins throbbing beneath his skin. Inside his body, something monstrous awakens. His cells twist, DNA strands flare with crimson energy, spreading like wildfire. Yihwan screams in agony. My heart feels like it's going to explode. His pulse pounds violently in his ears. Flames erupt around him, his body trembling. My whole body's so hot, as if it's on fire. His skin glows with unnatural heat, signaling the birth of something terrifying within. Yihwan's face twists in terror. Am I really going to die this suddenly? His eyes dart frantically as panic takes over. The surgical lights above blur out. No way. I can't die like this. His voice trembles in disbelief. Everything starts fading into darkness. If I die, his thoughts echo as his vision blurs completely. Jimin shakes him desperately, shouting, Hey, Yihwan, can you hear me? Get a hold of yourself. Yihwan's body lies limp, his breathing shallow, teetering on the edge of life and death. Jimin's voice echoes through the cold operating room, his face pale with panic. Someone help! Is there anyone out there? Someone fainted here. The camera shifts back to the little girl lying lifeless on the table. Jimin calls weakly, Yihwan, but she doesn't move. Then her eyelid twitches. A faint tremor runs through her face. The dead girl just moved. Yihwan's eyes snap open, dilated, trembling, and filled with panic. His breathing quickens as if he's waking from a nightmare. He jerks upright, drenched in sweat, glancing around the dark room. The cold fluorescent light flickers above him. Still dazed, he blinks in confusion. His mind races. The room's empty. No Jimin, no doctors, just silence, and the faint sound of something moving in the dark. Holding his head, Yihwan groans in confusion. Why am I lying on the floor? I was definitely in the hospital for work. His voice is shaky, his mind foggy. He looks around the dim room, noticing faint noises echoing through the silence. Anyway, where does this sound come from? Then he freezes. At the doorway, the girl, the one who was supposed to be unconscious, is standing on her feet, trembling slightly under the flickering light. The light from the door glints off the bracelet on her wrist, the same one that should have been burnt and broken earlier. Her hand twitches unnaturally. Yihwan stumbles backward, eyes wide in disbelief. "Hey, Chow, how can you?" His voice cracks, every word trembling. He slowly turns his head, sensing movement behind him, his expression twisting into pure confusion. Yihwan's eyes widen in horror. Jimin's lifeless body collapses before him, blood pooling beneath the gaping wound in his chest. Jimin's eyes stare blankly, mouth agape, blood dripping down his chin, his last breath already gone. Yihwan screams and falls backward, panic taking over. "Yihwan!" His heart races, his hands shaking uncontrollably. He stares at his friend's body in disbelief, voice trembling. Jimin Hyung? Yihwan stares at his trembling hands. They're covered in blood. Fresh. Warm. His breath quickens as realization hits. He jerks his head up, eyes wide. The girl, who should be dead, is now standing right in front of him. Her lifeless eyes fix on him, blood dripping from her mouth. The faint sound of her breathing turns into a low, eerie noise that fills the room. Yihwan freezes, unable to speak. Sweat drips down his face as he stares at his own blood-stained hands, the room eerily silent. The girl's expression remains blank, her eyes void of life but fixed directly on him, blood still smeared across her lips. Without a sound, she turns away, her head twisting unnaturally as she faces the door. Thud, thud, thud. She starts pounding her head against the metal door again and again, the sound echoing through the dark room. Yihwan's breath catches, fear crawling up his spine. Yihwan looks up at the wall clock. It's 9:19 a.m., April 29th. His mind spins. That's days after what just happened. His voice trembles as he mutters, "What the hell is going on?" The world feels distorted, reality bending around him. His breathing quickens, his left eye burns, and suddenly glows a deep, unnatural red. In this damned hospital, what the hell did I wake up into? The girl keeps slamming her head into the door, harder, faster. Each impact echoes through the room like a dull explosion. The clock ticks to 9:20 a.m. Only a minute has passed, but it feels like hours. The sound of pounding doesn't stop. Yihwan glances toward Jinmin's body, still motionless on the floor, chest torn open, blood pooling around him. Everything is wrong. The air feels heavy, and the hospital feels alive. Yihwan's voice trembles as he whispers. It tastes like metal. His glowing eye flickers, and sweat runs down his face. The scent of iron fills the air, thick and suffocating. Blood stains his hands, still warm, and the taste spreads across his tongue like rust. He glances toward the girl, still pounding her head on the door. The world around him twists, colors darken, sounds distort. Everything feels wrong, unnatural, as if reality itself is bending inside this cursed hospital. A low groan escapes from behind Yihwan. He freezes. The sound is wet, guttural, impossible. Jinmin's body twitches. His eyes snap open, blood bubbling from his throat as he lets out a broken growl. Yihwan stumbles back, voice shaking. JG Min-hyung, you're alive. But deep down, he already knows. That's not Jin-min anymore. Yihwan drops to his knees beside Jin-min, his hands trembling. Hyung, you're alive, he yells, pressing down on the blood-soaked wound. Can you hear me? Please say something. Jin-min's throat rattles with a deep, guttural growl, his eyes twitching open as blood seeps from his lips. Yihwan's eyes widen, desperate but hopeful. He's still conscious, he mutters to himself. If I get him treated, he can't survive. But that faint glimmer of hope is already starting to die in his voice. Yihwan's voice cracks with panic. We need to get to the ER right now, he shouts, trying to lift Jin-min's limp body. The girl turns her head slowly, her dead eyes locking onto him. Blood drips from her lips, and she whispers something faint, almost inaudible. The hallway outside looms in silence, blood smeared across the floor, lights flickering above. It feels endless, like a passage straight into hell. A door smeared with bloody handprints stands shut, silent and unmoving. Something, or someone, try to claw their way out. Just outside, furniture is stacked in panic, a desperate barricade against whatever was inside. The air feels heavy, the room suffocatingly still. Inside, the doctor sits against the wall, trembling and gasping for breath. His hands clutch his head, trying to shut out the memories, while beside him, a body lies motionless in a spreading pool of blood. The room stays eerily still, the doctor's ragged breathing echoing against the cold walls. The corpse beside him is long gone, its eyes glassy and lifeless. Clutching his head, the doctor breaks down, voice trembling. It's over. There's no hope anymore. His words hang heavy in the air, laced with despair. Tears and sweat mix on his wrinkled face as his eyes widen in hopeless realization. If no one's come to save us after all this time, he mutters, voice cracking, then the outside world is already beyond saving. The doctor's face twists in rage, veins bulging as he mutters through gritted teeth. That lunatic. He actually let things get this bad. But his anger freezes the moment he hears a sound, a faint, guttural noise behind him. One of the corpses on the floor starts twitching violently. His eyes widen in shock. The dead body is moving. The lifeless woman lies still on the floor, her blood soaking into the tiles. The silence in the room feels like it's holding its breath. The old doctor jolts up, panic taking over. It's over. If I stay here, I'm definitely going to die. His trembling hand grips a metal rod, the only weapon he can find. The door creaks open slowly, a streak of blood trailing past the threshold. Determination flashes across his terrified face as he raises the rod. No matter what it takes, I have to get out of this hospital. The glowing operating room sign flickers faintly in the dim hallway, the only sign of life in the deathly, silent hospital. Inside, he stands frozen over the body on the stretcher, sweat dripping down his face as he realizes the pool of blood is spreading wider. His breathing grows rapid, panic taking hold. His eyes burn crimson, veins pulsing beneath his skin. He clutches the edge of the table, grimacing in pain. This is weird. Why do I feel so weak? In my stomach, he gasps, voice trembling. It feels like my insides are twisting. He clenches his jaw, trembling as sweat runs down his face. Why? Why does it feel like I'm starving to death? I just ate lunch not too long ago. His stomach growls loudly, echoing through the silent room. Growling. He leans over the stretcher, staring blankly at the corpse. His lips part slightly, breath trembling, an instinct rising deep inside him he doesn't understand or want to. He grips the edge of the stretcher tightly, forcing himself to focus. I don't have time to think about that. With shaky steps, he pushes the stretcher toward the door. The eerie green light spills from the hallway, where the little girl still stands motionless. Clutching his stomach, he groans through the pain. I need to find someone and ask for help. His voice trembles, but his eyes burn with desperate resolve. As he pushes the stretcher forward, the little girl turns her head toward him, her lifeless eyes following his every move. He reaches for the door, forcing it open as the green light flickers eerily through the frame. The hinges groan like something alive. Suddenly, his eyes widen, a chill runs down his spine. He freezes mid-step. Down the dark hallway, an old doctor stands trembling, clutching a metal rod like a weapon. He yells, voice cracking with relief and panic. "The doctor!" His heart races. Finally, another human. The doctor's eyes widen in disbelief. A person? How? His grip tightens on the rod, as if he's not sure whether to trust what he's seeing. Yihwan shouts desperately, voice echoing down the hallway. "Please help. There's an emergency patient here." He gestures toward the stretcher, panic in every word. Suddenly, a blood-stained hand grabs the edge of the door, the nails long and dark, digging into the metal. Before he can react, the little girl lunges forward with a feral scream, eyes wild and mouth dripping red. "Gurureya!" The doctor's eyes widen in pure terror as he realizes what's coming straight at him. "Hike! Ag! Stay back!" he screams, swinging his metal rod frantically as the creature lunges. He stumbles back toward the wall, yelling in panic. "Eha!" The hallway fills with the sound of scraping metal and his desperate screams. The doctor's face twists in horror as a horde of infected rushes toward him, their guttural growls echoing down the corridor. He screams, waving his weapon wildly. "Hike! Aya! Get away! Stay back!" But they keep coming, their eyes empty, movements erratic. The swarm engulfs him. His cries turn into pure agony as blood splatters across the walls. "Gah! Huaf! Af!" The sound of tearing flesh fills the air. Blood splatters across the walls as the infected girl tears into her latest victim, her eyes lifeless, movements feral. Yihwan freezes in horror as he watches from down the hall, the screams echoing toward him. The corpse twitches violently before going still. He stands frozen, drenched in sweat, face pale. His mind goes blank as realization sinks in. This isn't just an outbreak. It's hell on earth. Yihwan slowly turns around, sensing something off behind him. His breath catches as the sound of dragging footsteps echoes closer. A figure steps into the dim light, blood dripping down its chest. It's his co-worker, Min, eyes empty and movement stiff. Min Hyung, Yihwan stammers, his voice trembling. The man doesn't answer, only glares at him with a lifeless stare. Min stands eerily still, blood trailing down his lips as a low groan escapes him. His eyes are glazed, no trace of life left. His feet drag across the blood-stained floor, step by step, the sound echoing through the hallway. Yihwan watches in disbelief, whispering, "Min," but the man doesn't respond, only keeps walking like a puppet. At the end of the hall, Min stops. A group of corpses stirs, twisted figures rise, snapping bones and cracking jaws, all turning toward him. Min drops to his knees beside the doctor's lifeless body, his head twitching as the other infected tear into the corpse without hesitation. Suddenly, he lets out a guttural scream, veins bulging, blood splattering from his mouth as his body convulses. With a guttural growl, he lunges forward, sinking his teeth into the doctor's face. Blood sprays as he tears at the flesh, devouring it like an animal. Yihwan watches in sheer horror, covering his mouth to keep from screaming, his eyes wide as he realizes they're all turning into monsters. Yihwan staggers back, panting heavily as he glances toward the end of the hallway. The grotesque sound of chewing and tearing echoes behind him. His vision blurs for a moment, memories flashing, Min smiling, cracking jokes, slapping him on the back like always. He grips his head, shaking violently as panic takes over. What is this? A nightmare? No, this can't be real. It has to be a dream. But deep down he knows it's not. Yihwan squeezes his eyes shut, his voice trembling as he mutters to himself. "Wake up! Kong Yihwan, wake up!" His pulse pounds in his ears, trying to force the nightmare away. He opens his eyes again, this time not in panic but in cold determination. The trembling stops, replaced by a hard, focused glare. Ahead, the red emergency light flickers over the silent operating room. He stares at it, his breath steadying. If this is reality, then he'll have to survive it. Yihwan exhales shakily, his back pressed against the cold wall. His suit is drenched in sweat, his breath uneven but slowing. His eyes suddenly widen. Something feels off. The air grows heavier, and a faint sound echoes from outside the room. He scans the dimly lit operating room. Empty tables, scattered tools, and the faint red glow from the emergency light flickering above. He's alone, or at least he hopes he is. Yihwan stares at the digital clock, confusion hitting him like a brick. April 29th, he mutters, his voice trembling. But isn't today the 24th? His eyes widen in disbelief as realization dawns. I lost consciousness for 5 whole days. He quickly fumbles through his pockets, panic taking over. His hands are shaking as he pulls out his phone. The screen lights up, and his expression freezes in shock. Whatever he's seeing, it's far worse than he imagined. Yihwan looks at his phone, 21 missed calls from Lee Chai-Nuna. A single unread message flashes. Juan, are you okay? His throat tightens as he whispers, Nuna. The panic in his eyes starts to grow again. He opens the chat. Message after message fills the screen. Yihwan sits frozen in the silent room, staring at the screen. The phone screen goes black. The battery's dead. My battery. Yihwan shouts in panic, shaking the phone like that'll somehow bring it back to life. He slumps against the cold wall, staring at the lifeless screen in silence. The reality of being completely cut off starts to sink in. His jaw tightens, a bead of sweat rolling down as fear mixes with determination. I have no idea what's going on, he mutters, pushing himself to his feet. But I can't just sit around. Yihwan grabs his tie and tightens his jaw. If I want to save Nuna and Minhee, he mutters, determination rising in his voice. He rips off his jacket and throws it aside, eyes sharp and focused. Sweat drips down his face, but his resolve hardens. I have to get out of this hospital, he says, his expression burning with purpose. The fear is still there, but now it's buried under something stronger, the will to survive. A girl sits curled up on the floor of a dark storage room, knees pulled tightly to her chest. The faint hum of the freezer is the only sound breaking the silence. Tears stream down her face as she trembles uncontrollably, her body shaking with every sob. Her eyes widen with terror, voice cracking as she whispers to herself, I'm sure of it, they're still outside. The girl's thoughts echo in the dark, her fear gripping tighter. If I go out, they'll kill me. She trembles, tears streaming down her cheeks as she whispers, please, anyone. Her inner voice breaks through the silence. Anyone will do. Just please, save me from here. A blood-stained golf club lies abandoned on the floor, gleaming under the faint corridor light. The metallic smell of blood lingers in the air. The hallway is chaos. Bodies twitch, blood pools, and a few survivors stagger through, their faces pale and lifeless. A woman with a blank expression, her mouth smeared with blood, turns slowly at the sound of movement. At the other end of the hall, Yihwan bursts into view, breathing hard, eyes wide as he locks onto the horrifying scene ahead. Yihwan moves carefully down the stairs, his steps echoing in the dim silence. Behind him, the blood-stained woman turns her head, her empty eyes locking onto him. Feeling her stare, Yihwan hesitates and glances back, sweat trickling down his cheek. His breath catches in his throat. The woman stands motionless, her blood-smeared face expressionless, but her eyes follow him like a predator tracking prey. As Yihwan descends further, she slowly begins to move, her steps dragging across the floor, closing the distance between them. The hospital looms under the night sky, eerily silent, its bright lights the only signs of life in the city below. The doors burst open, Yihwan sprints out of the building, his footsteps echoing through the empty street. He finally stops, panting heavily. His chest heaves as he looks back at the hospital, trying to process the nightmare he just escaped. Yihwan clutches his stomach, his face twisting in pain as sweat runs down his temple. My stomach hurts. He freezes mid-thought, confusion flickering in his eyes. No, this is at a time like this. His pupils dilate as realization hits. I'm hungry. A red digital clock glows in the darkness. 9:32 p.m., April 29th. His voice trembles. I guess it's understandable. After all, I haven't eaten anything for the last 5 days. Yihwan's vision blurs as he stumbles forward, his legs trembling. Sweat drips down his face. This won't do at this rate. I might collapse before I even reach my sister. He spots a convenience store up ahead, its lights faintly glowing in the night. His eyes sharpen with desperation. I need to eat something. Yihwan stumbles toward the convenience store, his body barely holding up. Each step is unsteady, his vision tunneling toward the flickering sign ahead. He pushes open the door. Inside, the store is wrecked, shelves overturned, broken glass scattered everywhere. The air smells of rot and stale snacks. He collapses to his knees, scavenging through the mess, clutching his empty stomach. Desperation takes over. He just needs something to eat. Yihwan grabs a dusty hamburger off a shelf and devours it like a starving animal, crumbs scattering as his hands tremble. He rips open a soda can and gulps it down, the liquid spilling over his chin. His throat burns, but he doesn't stop. Finally, he drops back against the floor, breathing hard, a small smile spreading across his face. Phew, now I can live. Yihwan stares blankly, realization slowly sinking in. I ate without even knowing what it was. I didn't have time to think about whether it was spoiled. He looks around the ruined store, surrounded by trash and shattered glass. I usually hated convenience store food, though how laughable. He sits in silence, his expression tightening, resolve slowly replacing exhaustion. Yihwan's eyes widen slightly, a chill running down his spine as a faint sound echoes in his mind. A dark, bloodied figure comes into view, an all-too-familiar face, the same man from earlier, now standing lifeless yet somehow moving. That memory flashes before his eyes, Jinmin's mocking voice from before. Do you really think zombies could exist? A horrifying scene flashes in Yihwan's mind. People tearing into another person's body like wild animals, blood spraying across the walls. He clutches his head, trembling as the image burns into his mind. No, this can't be real. Suddenly, his eyes snap open. Something nearby just moved. Yihwan freezes mid-step. A faint creak echoes from the back room, making his pulse quicken. He turns sharply, eyes scanning the shadows. I definitely heard something just now. Carefully, he starts moving between the aisles, trying not to make a sound, every nerve on edge. Yihwan grabs the door handle tightly. His hand trembles as a faint noise leaks from behind the door. He slowly opens it, the hinges creaking in the silence. The room is dark and filled with storage shelves. Yihwan cautiously steps inside, scanning the shadows, every muscle tense. Yihwan peeks cautiously around the corner, sweat dripping down his face as his heartbeat quickens. He spots a girl crouched in the corner, trembling. Her back is turned, shoulders shaking. Suddenly, she whips around and screams at the top of her lungs, Kaya! Yihwan jumps back, yelling in panic, UWAHHH. Yihwan stumbles backward, startled, hands up as he tries to calm the panicked girl crouched on the floor. She curls up tighter, trembling and sobbing uncontrollably. Kukuk! Yihwan forces an awkward, nervous smile, sweat dripping down his face. Do you need help? Footsteps echo on the pavement, slow, deliberate. An older man with gray hair walks stiffly through the dim streetlights, his expression lifeless. He stops in front of the convenience store, swaying slightly as if drawn there by instinct, his shadow stretching long under the flickering lights. Empty food containers and wrappers are scattered across the floor, signs of a desperate meal. The girl clutches a half-eaten sandwich and a bottle of water, tears mixing with sweat as she eats hurriedly, trembling. Yihwan watches her with a faint smile, holding his own drink. Even though I ate like I was starving, you might get indigestion, so eat slowly. The girl gulps down water desperately, her hands trembling as she drinks. She gasps for air, water dripping down her chin as she lets out a loud sigh of relief. Phew! Yihwan sits across from her, calm now, holding his bottle. Are you feeling better now? She nods quickly. Yes, yes. Thank you for your help. Yihwan smiles faintly. That's a relief. The girl stares at him wide-eyed, confused. But how did you get all the way here, mister? Yihwan nearly spits out his drink. And mister, he scratches his head awkwardly. WL, I was so hungry. I just rushed to the convenience store. She called me mister? I'm only 28. The girl narrows her eyes slightly. The girl's eyes widen in disbelief. You really just came here, but outside. Yihwan freezes, realization hitting him. That's right. He drops to his knees, panicked but hopeful. Is there a phone charger inside the convenience store? The girl looks toward the shelves. There should be some power banks for sale. Yihwan stands up decisively. I see. Then I'll go look outside. The girl flinches. She rushes to stop him, grabbing his arm. Wait, don't open the door. The zombies might have come back. Yihwan gives her a small, reassuring smile as he pushes the door open. Please don't worry. There definitely weren't any inside when I came in, but in the shadows behind him, a blood-stained figure slowly steps forward. Yihwan turns his head, confused. The older man stands in the doorway, lifeless eyes fixed on him, blood staining his shirt. A close-up of the man's eye, bloodshot, glowing red, veins twitching violently. Yihwan's face drains of color. He grabs the girl's wrist, panic taking over. Both of them stumble back, toward the storage room in terror. The girl freezes, terror spreading across her face as Yihwan grabs her arm, try to pull her back. Her body trembles, too scared to move. The older man lets out an inhuman scream, his face twisted, veins bulging, eyes glowing red. Kai-ah! Yihwan shouts in panic, matching her scream as he shields her. Kai-ah! The two are trapped between fear and instinct, the zombie closing in fast. The zombie lunges forward with a deafening roar. Uwahhh. Its face twisted in rage, saliva flying as it charges a girl. Yihwan stumbles back, drenched in sweat and fear. Ugh! He lets out a terrified scream. Uwahhh. As the creature closes in. In a split second of panic, Yihwan swings his arm wildly, his hand slamming into the zombie's face with a powerful smack. The impact sends the creature's head snapping back. With adrenaline surging, Yihwan drives his hand forward, slamming the zombie's head down with unnatural strength, sending cracks through the air. The zombie's body flies backward, crashing through the store window as shards of glass explode outward. It slams hard into the ground outside, the impact echoing across the empty street. Smoke and debris rise where it lands. Yihwan stands frozen, his hands still outstretched, staring at the shattered glass and the fallen zombie. The girl peers at him, still trembling. Did you just push him? She asks, disbelief in her voice. Yihwan looks down at his hand, his mind spinning. What is this? Was that? His eyes widen, glowing faintly red as realization hits him. My power! The zombie's body twitches on the ground, its eyes glowing faintly red, jaw cracked but still moving, groaning lowly as if refusing to die. The wind outside howls through the shattered window, papers fluttering in the empty street. The eerie silence returns. Yihwan's lips tremble as he stares ahead in disbelief, sweat dripping down his face. No way. Yihwan stares at the wreckage, glass, dust, and the motionless zombie outside. His voice trembles. Did I really do that? He lifts his shaking hands, examining them in disbelief. I definitely pushed with all my strength, but I didn't expect them to be thrown that far. His eyes narrow as a sudden thought hits him. No, more importantly, he glances around the ruined store, his expression turning wary. For some reason, They don't attack me. The morning light spills across the empty street, glass shards glinting faintly. The chaos from moments ago feels eerily calm now. The girl hesitantly steps closer, still shaken. Jussie, just now, did you just push them out? Yihwan twitches, face darkening as veins pop on his forehead. I am not an Jussie. Yihwan snaps out of his thoughts, clutching his hands nervously. I don't think that's the important part right now. Then he suddenly remembers, right, the power bank. He turns quickly toward the shelves. You're sure there's a power bank in here, right? The girl, still crouched down, nods. Yes, over there, in the general goods section. As he walks off, she watches him go with a puzzled expression. What a weird. Jussie. The screen lights up. Lee Chai Nuna, connecting call, his hand trembles. Please. He clutches the phone to his ear as it rings. Nuna? Nuna, are you Saf? A mechanical voice cuts him off. The number you have dialed is currently unattended. Please leave a message after the beep. His expression freezes, eyes widening. Yihwan's eye glows, faintly red as panic fills his face. No way. Am I too late? A memory flashes. A peaceful afternoon under cherry blossoms. His sister, Lee Chai, holds her daughter's hand, both smiling as the wind carries petals around them. Her gentle smile lingers in his mind. Nuna. His eye burns crimson, filled with panic. No. He grips the phone tightly, voice trembling. No, I don't know that yet. Trying to steady his breathing, he forces himself to think rationally. Maybe she just couldn't charge her phone and it died. She must be hiding somewhere, waiting for help. Determination flashes in his eyes as he looks toward the city. I have to go and save Nuna. He pauses mid-step, his gaze shifting back toward the store. But first, he turns to the girl peeking out from the storage room. Do you have a phone on you? Cha. Yes, I do, but my phone is already dead. He hands her the power bank. Try calling your family. They might be safe. The city lies quiet under the night sky. Broken streets, flickering lights, and the eerie stillness after chaos. Footsteps echo in the dark. Shadows move closer, and the sound of slow, uneven steps grows louder. A group of people shuffle through the dark street, their eyes glowing red, faces empty of life. They move closer to the convenience store, silent, aimless, yet drawn to something. Inside, the girl trembles as tears stream down her cheeks. Mom, is that really you? She kneels on the floor, clutching the phone tightly. Yes, Mom. I've been hiding in the convenience store this whole time. Are you okay? Dad with you, right? Tears of relief stream down her face. Thank goodness, that's such a relief. You're all alive. The man smiles softly behind her. She continues, I'm safe thanks to the Jussie who helped me. His smile instantly twitches. Again calling me Jussie. He sits cross-legged, muttering to himself, I'm only 28. I'm not really an Jussie yet. Maybe it's because I haven't showered. Suddenly, the girl's tone changes, her voice trembling. What? What do you mean? You're telling me not to come home? He turns toward her, alarmed. Tears stream down her face as she shouts into the phone. Survive? You just said you were okay. So why are you saying that now? Don't hang up, Mom. Mom. The call ends abruptly. Silence fills the narrow aisle as she clutches the phone, trembling. Tears stream down her face. Sob. Sniff. She wipes her eyes, her voice breaking. Curled up in the corner, she buries her face in her knees, her cries echoing softly. Sob. 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 The man watches quietly, unsure how to comfort her. He stays silent, watching her quietly, his face calm but heavy with thought. His eyes narrow sharply, determination flashing across his face. Breaking the silence, he asks firmly, Where is your home? She looks up in surprise. He stands tall, voice steady. I'm going to gather supplies and leave this place. It's a bit far, but I'm going to find my Nuna. He looks down at her, softer this time. If you want to get out of here and find your family. He meets her tearful eyes. Why don't you come with me? She hesitates, lips trembling, unable to speak. The girl flinches, startled by a sudden sound from outside. Her eyes widen as the man turns sharply toward the noise. Yihwan narrows his eyes, peeking through the gap in the door to see what's happening outside. His expression hardens. Beyond the shelves, a few shadowy figures stagger between aisles, their low growls echoing through the wrecked store. A few zombies shuffle through the aisles, their slow, uneven footsteps echoing in the wrecked store. The girl whispers nervously, her voice trembling. "They're out there, right? The zombies are outside, aren't they? Then how are you planning to get out of here?" Yihwan stays silent for a moment, eyes narrowed, calm but focused. He's already thinking of a plan. Yihwan stacks a few crates against the door, thinking out loud. Yeah, leaving like this definitely won't be easy. The girl looks at him nervously, unsure of what he's planning. He picks up a sturdy metal rod and checks its grip. His tone turns serious. "Listen carefully. From now on, no matter what, do not come outside." Yihwan tightens the tape around the rod's handle. "No matter what sounds you hear out there," he says firmly, eyes sharp, "don't open this door." Yihwan grips the makeshift weapon tightly, giving her a calm but determined look. "I'll be back soon," he says, voice steady. The girl blinks, startled and still teary-eyed. "Huh." Before she can react, Yihwan rushes toward the entrance. "And no, wait," she cries out, reaching toward him as he disappears into the dark hallway. The door slams shut behind Yihwan with a loud bang, making the girl flinch. She gasps and turns toward the noise, heart pounding. Fear takes over. She crouches down, clutching her knees tightly as the echoes of the chaos outside fill the room. The girl trembles, clutching her head as tears stream down her cheeks. Her fear builds with every sound echoing from outside. A sudden crash jolts her, coming from the direction Yihwan ran. She stiffens, staring toward the door, too scared to move. A heavy footstep echoes through the silence. Someone's approaching. Yihwan stands at the doorway, covered in blood and sweat, breathing heavily. His voice is calm but tired. "It's done. You can come out now." The girl looks up, tears still streaking her cheeks, but her eyes widen in shock and relief as she sees him alive. She rushes toward him, panicked and trembling. "Are you okay?" Yihwan exhales, finally relaxing his shoulders. "Phew, yeah. To be honest, I wasn't completely sure." He unwraps the bloody bandages from his arm, letting them fall to the floor. The camera pans across the wrecked store, broken shelves, scattered goods, and silence after the storm. Yihwan's voice continues softly, but now I am. Bodies lie scattered across the street, the aftermath of chaos painted in blood and silence. Yihwan's voice echoes faintly. I don't really know why. The scene shifts closer, faces torn, lifeless eyes staring into nothing. But zombies? Yihwan stands firm amid the smoke and carnage, his expression calm and unreadable. "They don't bite me,"